welcome to my YouTube channel, A Home Not Far From Home. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you are new here, welcome to the wonderful family. And then if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, my love. Thank you so much for tuning in again. It means a lot to me. So please don't forget to like this video. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends to tell their friends. Comment down below and catch me on my social media platforms. Mabato _ on Instagram, Mabato _ K on Twitter, and then Mabato Gamuteko on Facebook. So yeah, let's get right straight to the video. So on today's subject, we have lack of representation, and we're gonna get our word of the day from Hebrews 9 verse 23 through to verse 24, and then it reads like this. It was necessary then for the copies of the heavenly things to be purified with these sacrifices, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ did not enter a sanctuary made with human hands that was only a copy of the true one. He entered heaven itself, now to appear for us in God's presence. So I've been meditating over this word and I've been praying, and I think that's how I came up with the lack of representation as my subject for today. So lack of representation is basically how you choose to represent yourself to the world and to other people. It could be in a positive way, could be in a negative way, but we are always striving for a positive way, because you know, when you're positive, everything around you gets more positive, and then you lead a very positive life. A lack of representation is how God chooses to structure your life and present it to the world, and also understanding Guti, you are someone else's representation. There are a lot of people, known and unknown, that look up to you. So, which is why I'm saying Guti, always strive to represent yourself in a more positive way. Lack of representation can withhold one from their highest potentials, from their skills and knowledge, and can also withhold the others, those that are looking up to you, from their knowledge and their skills and their highest potential. Lack of representation is important because as people, we are interconnected. Your life can or is someone else's testimony, and which is why I said you should always strive to be representing yourself in a more positive way for other people as well, because you can be guiding people that you know and people that you don't know. People look up to other people a lot, which has disadvantages and advantages, but we're gonna get to that on a later stage. For now, I just want to highlight how important representing yourself well is. When you represent yourself well, you learn the basics that people can take away from you, like your knowledge, your integrity, your honesty, your communication skills, and your entire being. You learn how to better communicate. You learn how to be a positive person towards yourself and to other people as well. When you learn to represent yourself well, you understand that other people are looking up to you, and besides that, keep a more positive face to other people, because also representing yourself well is gonna lead you to positive rooms, like they understand, because okay, this person was represented this way, and then that's what we need. Like, you're building up your values, you're building up your dignity with through representing yourself well. So there are barriers to representation, one of them being dwelling on things that you have no control over, dwelling on things that change at that moment, which leads to anxieties. So there was this other video I was watching of this girl. She was talking about how she applied for a job, and then she went for the interviews, she went for the pre-test, and then according to her, everything was okay. And then after that, she started getting anxious because did she get the job or did she not get the job? But on the video, she was explaining how God at that time was trying to teach her how to be patient and how to not dwell on things that you can't control, because you wouldn't know. Even if you went to an interview and then everything went well, they're gonna take you or not. And why should it bother you to a point where you don't sleep, yeah, you become very antisocial at that time, just because of how anxious you are. So being anxious and dwelling on things that you can't control can be a very negative barrier to how you choose to represent yourself, because you end up being less of yourself, because at that time you are very, very much anxious. I was not at that time. Awukhulumi nabantu as much as ukhuluma nabo on the socials. You are not as active as how people know you, or how you choose to be actually active on those social media platforms. So dwelling on things that you can control and being anxious is one of the barriers. And then pride also is one of the barriers. Umuntu when I need too much pride, I'll accept help from someone else. You're like, no, me, no ways, because of your pride. And then your pride gets into the way you represent yourself, because if you have too much pride, people can actually detect that. No, this one, too much pride. And then even if people were supposed to help you, they withhold from that, but they step back because of your pride. Because also in pride, it makes people, it makes the language to be a barrier also, because maune pride ukuluma whatever you want to say, just because of you want to protect this pride of yours, which is very, very negative and just a bad way of representing yourself. And then the other barrier is inside voices. 85% of the time we live in our head, and then I think it's important we build a very positive place in our heads, because we live there most of the time. And then if we allow things like fear of rejection, guilt to take over, we are unable to actually represent ourselves well. Because sometimes when you think of, okay, let me do this, and then nobody like, no, Mina, like, you can't do this. Your voices, they say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. What are you doing? Stop doing that. And then that's just the devil trying to get to you, and then it's withholding you from representing yourself the way you would like to represent yourself, because you are constantly held back by something. Constantly when you try to do this, there's something just comes up, something comes to your mind, and they're like, no, let me not do this, because, and then you start giving yourself reasons, and I'm reasons because other people, they look up to you, and they wish all the best for you, and they wish for you to keep going. But when your voices, they just withhold everything. As like I said, 85% of the time we live in our heads. I think we should always strive for the positive of our heads, like positive voices instead. Even if you can't do something, you can't do it, but no, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna fail while I tried. Because sometimes says withhold from our fullest potential just because of the voices in our head. And that's just not the voices God wants us to hear. Actually, God wants us to lead a positive life. He wants us to trust he who that is inside us is so much better and stronger than he who is in the world. And we should always strongly believe in that. There are positive ways on how you can represent yourself, like improving your skills, improving your character, improving your transparency, and improving how you express yourself to yourself and to the world and everyone else around you. You should always try to pray to God to always show you what he's trying to teach you in every particular situation. Even when times get tough, just kneel down and pray to God. Show me what you're trying to teach me now at this moment with this particular situation. Show me what you're trying to teach me. As we grow and navigate our ways through life, we see a lot of people, like we experience people experiencing things, and I feel like if other people choose to negatively represent themselves, it helps us somehow with it. Okay, this is what they chose to do in this particular situation, and then this is what happened, and then I don't want that for myself, and I don't want that for the next generation that's possibly looking up to me. So how other people choose to negatively represent themselves, also how they choose to positively represent themselves, could be a guide to us, and then we can use that guide to help other people. Because if you see good, okay, my neighbor maybe or anyone else chose to have babies 3 babies in like 24 years old already. She has 3 babies, and then you don't like that for yourself. I'm not saying it's wrong, because people choose how they want to do their lives. I'm not saying it's wrong, but if you see that and then you don't like that, you are able to say no, that can't be me. Like, I can't be 24 not working and like having 3 kids, still staying at home with my parents or my grandparents. That can't be me. And then from there you learn good to know I can avoid this. Because also, maybe if you have one child, it can be it can be a lesson to you, good to know I can't have another baby while I'm still at home. I'm not working, I'm not going to school. Like, there's nothing that's happening in my life. So we look up to other people, we look up to our parents, our families that maybe they have divorced, and then you see from there, good to know, okay, this is what happened throughout their marriage. And then I don't want that for myself. So whenever I get married, this is what I want. You are able to make a list of things that you want and a list of things that you don't want, and you try by all means to avoid the things that you don't like and work on the things that you like. Because also, if you say, see, this is the type of marriage I want, or maybe this is the type of partner I want, you have to work hard also on yourself to meet that person halfway. You can't expect to have someone maybe who's well educated, someone who values trust and loyalty, while you are not loyal. You can't be trusted. And like, you're not going to school, you're not getting yourself educated, but you want someone who's educated, you want someone who has money. Like, we as people in romantic relationship, platonic relationship, friendships, family, we have to try to meet each other halfway. In everything that we do, we have to at least try to meet each other halfway. So there are disadvantages to representation. If you focus on representing yourself well to people all the time, you're gonna end up losing yourself. Because sometimes you're gonna take big decisions, sometimes you're gonna do the wrong thing, and then you are always gonna focus or be anxious to why you did that, or how is who and who gonna feel about it, how are the people that are looking up to you gonna feel about it, forgetting good umuntu. As people, we make bad decisions. Like, that's just all part of human nature, but we shouldn't dwell on them. And then if you made a wrong or bad decision, you should maybe apologize to yourself, and then if it's necessary, apologize to other people as well. But that's not always necessary, because we all make mistakes, and then some people don't have to actually apologize for those mistakes, because it's something that you did on your own. For like, at the time you took a decision, it was the right decision for you. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to always apologize, but do not dwell on focusing that you want to represent yourself well all the time. You should always try to represent yourself well, for yourself mostly, before other people, for yourself. But akumelanga focus that thing too much, because it's at the end of the day, it's gonna lead you astray, because you won't be fully on your values or what you believe in, because you are always gonna try to be on how other people might feel or are gonna feel. So you always have to try to be as positive as you can with everything, but remember that you shouldn't put your mental health at risk, put other people and yourself at risk just because you want to represent yourself well. Another disadvantage is the illusion of things. A lot of people get misled on what influencers choose to show or influence about. People get so intact to their influencers, or the people they rather believe to be influencers, and they believe in them or what they do, and then to a point that influencers show us what they want us to see. We are all struggling somehow. Like, we are all struggling, but influencers don't always show their struggling parts. They choose to show us the good side of things, which is okay. You can't just portray your struggles all over the internet, portray how you are. Like, it is up to you. If you want to say, I'm struggling mentally, or I'm struggling with this and that, it's all up to you. But sometimes it's not always that influencers show us everything that they are going through. So people get misled because they wanna act out on how the influencers show. You understand? So abantu bagcina bathatha everything influencers I show you, or they rather believe ukuthi influencers don't have problems because maybe banemali, they have nice places, nice cars, they drink their finest wine, they go to the finest hotels, and then they think they don't have problems, and then when they are trying to copycat that life, like they are trying to go to the places these influencers go to, drink the wines they drink, have the same phones as them, and then that on its own is very, very anxious to one person, because I cannot live your life, you cannot live my life. How I choose to influence or how I choose to represent myself is not how you can choose that, but it won't be the same. So I think we shouldn't try to put stress on ourselves on wanting to be like our influencers, like the people we think are doing it in life. We should really admire how they do things, because maybe we like their lifestyle and everything, but create your own lifestyle, create your own space, be in your own element, know, okay, me as Umabasa, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do, and then sit on that, like work on that, be on that, on what you can do and what you can't do, because also what you can't do is sometimes things which change over time, or try a better alternative of doing those things, rather than ukuthi now so ufuna ukuba uzibani or phile njengozibani just because they represent themselves in a particular way. No, we shouldn't do that. We should always strive to be ourselves as best as we can, because God created each one of us with a purpose, and God's grace and mercy is sufficient for all of us. uNkulunkulu sonke usilethela emhlabeni with one thing that we can do, not saying really one thing, but he gave us something that we can do. So we shouldn't really dwell on ukuthi ngifane nobani or ngoba ubani wenzeni, yabo. Dwell on what you can do, how you can better do it, and work on that every day. The idea of representing yourself well can get you astray a lot of times, because you're gonna focus more on actually improving yourself all the time. You're gonna focus more on the products more than your own values, and you're gonna actually forget to trust the process and actually trust God to work on your life how he wishes, because how God knows and wishes to represent our lives or show our lives off to other people's and things that we are able to do is way, way, way much better than we think or imagine. So if you are constantly thinking on how you can improve yourself, thinking on how you can better represent yourself, thinking on how you can do things on your own, it's gonna lead you astray, because like God won't be there. God won't be your first reference of everything. You won't be able to go to God first to pray, because in your mind you're gonna think that, no, I've got this. I answer this thing on my own. I can do this thing on my own, like all the time. Let me focus on this. Let me focus on that, which leads back to my point of being anxious. You get anxious because some things you just can't do alone. Some things you just have to trust the process, trust the world, trust the give and get process, trust God to work on you. Getting too obsessed with representing yourself well is very risky, because you don't leave a room for disappointment. Like every time no, I can represent myself well all the time. You're thinking on how you can represent yourself well and how you actually want to represent yourself well to other people and yourself. But most of the time, if you're obsessed, it's more of you wanting to represent yourself well to other people, and ganjalo, you never leave room for disappointment. And whenever you do get disappointment, it just sets you way back, because you get depressed, you get anxious, you start thinking a lot, you start doubting yourself, you start doubting the process, you start doubting God. Like on your own from the beginning, like you didn't leave any room for disappointment, you didn't leave any room for God to actually work on you and your idea and the whole process, but you were just way too obsessed to represent yourself, forgetting sometimes other people, as much as they look up to you, but it's not necessarily that they're gonna help you in any way. So, okay, sometimes they do, but it's not healthy for you to sacrifice your mental health, sacrifice your thinking, sacrifice your values and your God just because when Ufunusus represents the world to other people. It like doesn't make sense. As much as you want to represent yourself well, you should have your own values, your own morals, your own boundaries, your own level of understanding, and your own level of wanting to represent yourself. You shouldn't be entirely obsessed with wanting to represent yourself. Now we're gonna talk about looking up to someone. You looking up to the influencer on how they influence, that what they're influencing and whatever they are inspiring or instilling in you. So it can also be in a positive way and also in a negative way. So one should always be open-minded. You should always be open-minded to everything, because like I said, I'm an influencer. When they influence, they don't show us the bad side of things or their struggling side, but they show us what they want to sell to us, what they want to influence, what they want to inspire and instill in us. So if you are open-minded enough, you will understand what you know this influencer is influencing, and then that's it. As much as I like their content, I like how they influence, I like what they say, I like what they're doing, but that doesn't mean what you see is everything about them. And then as soon as you understand what you see is not everything about them, uzoba able ube inspired to a point there's a certain level. Like I wish okay, I wanna be this person, I wanna do what this person does. But you take what they give and you work on that with what you already have. I'll force ukuthi into zakho zifana nezakhe or into zakhe zihambe njengezakhe, because you don't know ukuthi uyenzeni throughout the process, from the beginning, from maybe the beginning la bekangaziwa khona to now that that person is an influencer. You don't know. And so when you are open-minded enough, you understand that whole process you don't know about is somehow, if maybe you want to be an influencer or somehow you want to be what they are or what they're doing, you understand the process ile process on your own values, your own understanding, your own knowledge, your own transparency, your own communication, and your own positivity. Like it's your own things, your own level of understanding. The positive side of looking up to someone is that you get inspired, you get motivated. Like sometimes, most of the time, people get inspired or they follow influencers because maybe somehow Lauma influencer buys something or something close to what that person who's looking up or. So if you are open-minded, you are able to understand I'm looking up to this person, and then you get inspired and then you get motivated to do it on your own, like on your own lane, your own timing, rather than looking up to them and like just trying to be them and just trying to do things the way they do it without knowing behind the cameras, behind the scenes, what happens. Then the negative side of looking up to someone is that sometimes you start to mimic they're doing. So you start to mimic what they do, what they say, how they choose to dress up, or how they choose to represent yourself. And then in the process, you lose sometimes self-esteem, because if you try to mimic what they do, you can't do it better like they do it. So your self-esteem drops, because you understand that sometimes you don't have the body that they have, you don't have the money that they have, you don't have the resources that they have, you don't have the family or background or support that they have. So you end up feeling less of yourself. You end up feeling your esteem drop, self-esteem drop, and then it gets to you, man. It bothers you. You become anxious. You become less of yourself. You become more closed up just because you chose to mimic too much of someone else rather than just being inspired and doing your own thing. So guys, that's it for today. That's it about lack of representation. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to add on, maybe I didn't touch on anything, please, you can comment down below, and then you can catch me on my social media platforms. It's Mabato underscore on Instagram, Mabato underscore K on Twitter, and Mabato Kamuteko on Facebook. Please, guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends about it, comment, catch me on my social media platforms. Always remember to nurture and take care of one another. God loves you all so much, and so do I. Until next time, guys. Bye.